The first trade of the day was probably one of the worst trades, arguably one of the worst trades in NFL history. It was shocking to say the least, and it only proves the fact that Bill Bryan is a goddamn moron, and he should not even be a head coach. He should definitely not be the GM. I don't think he should even be able to run the defense. This guy is an absolute moron, and he proved that here when the Texans traded away DeAndre Hopkins, and they also traded away a 2020 fourth round pick. And in return, they get washed up running back David Johnson from the Cardinals, along with a 2020 second round pick and a 2021 fourth round pick. Blake, I think you have a little bit to say about this one, don't you?
Yeah, there's just nothing that anybody could say to have this make sense to me. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins he's getting older for sure. Like that's one argument you could make towards, trying to get rid of him. But other than that, he's still playing like a dog every single game. I mean, that guy, his drop rate is out of this world. Never drops a ball.
Drops.
Him and Hopkins, yeah, and that's a bad season for him, right? Like he hates that. Compare it to Amari Cooper, another top, 10 wide receiver. He gets 12 drops in a year. It's a good season for him. So I mean, it's a huge comparison, really. But for David Johnson to come over for him, I mean, you're getting still like I guess a playmaker at some point, but he's not ever going to be that crazy. What was it, 2016 season? Mm-hmm. Well, when was the year that he went off? That I can't remember. I think it was 2016, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get that. That's probably his peak, right? Like usually running backs, unless you're Adrian Peterson, you're not going to hit that 2,000 yard mark, randomly in your like 8th year of your career. The second rounder is really nice, but again, like in my opinion, basically you traded DeAndre Hopkins for a second round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even get a 4th round pick. Like you're trading that and a 4th round pick of this year's draft for a 2nd round pick of this year's draft, plus David Johnson, who's like, no disrespect to guy, but not who I would want to get in return for DeAndre Hopkins.
No, there's a difference between DeAndre Hopkins, arguably the league's best wide receiver, and really the main reason that Deshaun Watson has the production that he has, and you're trading him for another running back. They already have 3 running backs on the roster right now. They had Lamar Miller, who did go down with the ACL injury, but Lamar Miller is a solid RB1. Carlos Hyde, not a bad RB2. Duke Johnson, decent RB2, really good RB3. And you're bringing a 4th running back on this roster. I know David Johnson had one really good season, and that season was phenomenal. But he's not worth it. This trade is nowhere near it. This is one of them trades that would get rejected almost immediately in Madden. Or this is one of those trades that would get vetoed in the fantasy football league. This is not a trade that happens in the actual NFL. Who in their right mind actually offered this? Obviously, Bill Bryan is not in his right mind because he is an absolute dumpster fire.
And yeah, that's really just weird because that's their most consistent playmaker, and you're getting rid of him for basically a guy that's often injured, right?
Yes.
So you're getting like we already have a guy in Will
Fuller. At the end of last season, he wasn't even. See, Blake. At the end of last season, he wasn't RB1. He was RB2 last year. Yeah, and Kenyon Drake was franchise tagged by the Cardinals today. Mm-hmm. But this doesn't make sense. You're trading a once in a lifetime athlete. You're trading away a generational athlete. You're trading away a Hall of Famer for someone that didn't even start at the end of last year. What are you doing?
It's a head scratcher.
No, it's
that's one that's we're gonna look back on, and either we're gonna be way right, or Bill O'Brien's gonna be slightly correct, because I don't think there's any way that DeAndre Hopkins is gonna he's always gonna be that guy. That's like you said, a Hall of Famer. David Johnson, he might have another good year or 2 left in the tank, but it's not gonna be his peak.
Wide receivers also last in the league longer than running backs do. Mm-hmm. And I think this whole trade only proves that the only professional team in Houston that knows what the hell they're doing is the Houston Roughnecks.
Well, it's going to make it really interesting too now in the draft. There's a lot of talk about, I know I know our guy Jalen. There's a lot of talk about CeeDee Lamb possibly going to the Cardinals. I
Not
think this
anymore.
completely changes it now, right? There's no way that they're going to
Now they
draft a wide
have to
receiver in the
draft the
first
offensive
round.
line, right? I think they take O line now to
They
help
got
Kyler
their
Murray
running
out.
back, they got their receivers.
And they
Yeah, now they got to shore up that line. Either
exactly.
that or get better on defense. So
It's going to be
it's gonna
one of those
change the
two,
order of the
quarterback
draft
or
now. I
offensive
think
lineman.
it's gonna
I
it's
think
gonna
so
change
too.
when receivers go.